Hello YouTube. So today we're gonna be looking at Boxtrolls. Yay. Okay, so I just wanna say it. I don't really like this one. I usually love like animation. I'm always praising them because they do such an amazing job, but with this one, well, let's just get into it. So our movie starts off with a kid getting kidnapped and some guy named Snatcher going to tell Lord Portly about this kid getting stolen. And this guy thinks it's a tragedy for like 5 seconds, then he's just back onto whatever he was doing. Really cared there. So, yeah. Then we just get a deal start to being struck about Snatcher saying, if I get rid of all of these Boxtrolls, not sure how many there are exactly, but if I can get rid of every single one of them, give me a hat. So he says, yeah, okay, you're never gonna do it. Sure he won't. So, yeah. Then a curfew is started because this kid went missing. So of course the Boxtrolls will try again. But we eventually do find out that the Boxtrolls are pretty much just inventors. Although I was comparing them more to the Gremlins from the original story, where they would pretty much take old unwanted parts and would use them for their own machines. But yeah, they're pretty much inventors, as this movie compares them. Guess they're kind of similar. So, yeah, these guys are all inventors, and they didn't kill the kid, actually. They instead decided to raise him. And they were friends with his father, but I guess they never decided to go check on him. I don't know why. They repurposed his house after one day. Did they ever go check to see if he was still alive? Seems like that would have probably been the better option, as, yeah, that father does go down to look for his kid later, so why the Boxtrolls didn't just come out at night when everyone's shut in, so it's not like anyone's gonna go after them, and this whole entire Boxtroll extermination group had just started. Why they didn't just go out then, because, you know, there's not that many threats, and go back to his house and say, hey, we got your kid, are you okay? Or maybe they did do that, and he was in the hospital for getting hit on the head, I don't know. So, yeah. Pretty much they've just been raising his kid, because I'm sure that's what the father would have wanted, and he's pretty much become a Boxtroll, except for the fact that the Boxtrolls even do hint to him that he's not one, like, with his voice and everything, the fact that he can't go into his box. Yeah, people bring these up, but apparently the Boxtrolls have just been giving him excuses this whole time. You're long-boned, and you have a speech impediment. There, that's why you can't act like the rest of us. It's okay, don't worry, you're still a kid that we raised. So, yeah, these extermination guys are getting worse and worse. They're less and less Boxtrolls now, so Eggs comes up with an idea to just continue going about what he's doing. But he's getting kind of annoyed about it. And eventually the one Boxtroll that has pretty much been like a father figure to him, Fish, is taken. And yeah, that pretty much pushes him over the edge. But before that happens, we get to see Winifred talking to her dad, Lord Portly Rhymes. Stupid name. And Yeah, we immediately see what's gonna happen with him. He's not a good father. I wonder what will happen later. Okay, so yeah, she goes out. She has a very psychotic fascination with Boxtrolls for some reason. Not necessarily what they are or in like a scientific way. No, she's more interested in what exactly they do to people. She's more interested in, do they take off your toes and make them into necklaces? Yes, that's actually one of her descriptions. Yeah, she's gonna be just fine in the future. I don't see her becoming a psychotic killer or anything. Seriously, what is with that kid? But anyway, she sees eggs and thinks nothing of it. Guess it wasn't that weird. Just a kid out with a box troll, you know, something that you never see in your town. But yeah, just stare at him for a little bit. That'll help. And eventually she bumps into Snatcher, who just comes back in to remind her father their deal is still going on. I'm sure he forgot. So, yeah, Fish is now taken, and Eggs decides he's gotta go out to the human world. Still in his box. Or wait, I forgot. Did he have one in his box now? I forgot. Well, I think that he was still in his box, yeah, so really great disguise. So he goes up to the human world and everything. He goes up, and he pretty much learns about what everyone thinks happened to him when he was a baby. Everyone thinks that he was eaten alive. Because that's immediately what I would assume. Hey, some creatures that we don't know about. They took a kid. They must have killed him. Everybody hate them forever. Drive them underground, which they already kind of were. Like, really, where did this hatred of Boxtrolls even come from? I mean, I get that it could have started from fear, but still, feels like they could have tried to work through that or past that instead of just worry about their different types of cheeses. Oh yeah, and cheese is a major point in this movie. I'm not even lying here. Cheese is actually a major plot point in this film. So, yeah. So, Eggs and Winifred start talking about how pretty much she's been growing up with the Boxtrolls, and then he just leaves because he sees one of the guys who took Fish. So he goes, chases him down, and pretty much all the bad guys just sort of start talking about stuff, and then we see that Snatcher has a obsession with getting this hat. Why? Because reasons, I guess. Like, it's never explained why he wants this hat, he just does. It's just like, this hat means that you can go into a room where you can taste cheeses. Like, okay, there are pretty few solutions to this, Snatcher. One, buy a hat. Like, seriously, go buy a white hat. Like, okay, I know this one might not be that sensible as, yeah, the white hats in this town do seem to show some sort of political power, like, you're like the mayor of this town or a monarch, given the time period. I'm guessing that that's how it works for this town, because of what they've shown, but yeah, I still don't know. Seems like they might want to sell some of those to tourists who would have no reason for not being able to buy them. In which case, yeah, I guess Snatcher could not be allowed as he's a local. But still, he could probably just get a tourist to buy one for him. Or here's another idea. Embezzle one if you want it that bad. Seriously, you've been spending like 12 years on this whole entire get a hat plan. Why not embezzle one? Seriously, is it really that hard to do? Like, it seems like you have quite a few options here. Or, you know, buy a hat that looks similar to this, get some paint, and paint it white. Amazing! You could have cracked it! So, yeah, he never does that. Because he's an idiot, I guess. And Snatcher pretty much also has a cheese infection. Or some weird cheese-related allergy. Don't know why, again. Never explained why he wants to get one of those white hats that get him into the cheese testing room when he has an allergy to it. Though then again, they also do show in this film that he doesn't have any memory of what happens when he gets in contact with cheese, but still, seems like that might have been something kind of necessary to, you know, bring up to him. No? Never want to tell him about that? Okay. So, yeah. No one wants to tell him for some reason. So, Eggs then bumps into Winifred again after he saved Fish, and pretty much now Snatcher and his group are hunting down Winifred and Eggs. So when they see them at a party later, they never do anything about them. Makes sense to me. So pretty much Winifred finds out that all the Boxtrolls are pretty much harmless, and then she decides, well, I guess I'll help them out now. So she pretty much just says, hey, Fish, you're a human. I mean, Eggs, you're a human. Go be like one. Then I'll help you out. So, yeah, he has to take off his box. Dun dun dun. And he also has to go up to the normal world and interact with probably the most stuck-up people. Like, seriously, he does something different. Oh my god! Like, really, what was with these people? When he goes up to this party, it's just like, oh my god, he acts differently from us. He must be shunned. I mean, don't look at him. Wow, like, what is with these people? But anyway, yeah, all these people are very, very strange. And have some obsession with cheese, as that's the only food available in the dining area. Like, what is with that? What is their weird obsession with cheese about? Please, someone explain that to me. I really want to know. Where did that come from? Cheese obsession with this town. But anyway, then Lord Portly Rhymes, so stupid. He comes out with a giant thing of cheese that he used money that he could have spent for a children's hospital and instead used on this. Clearly a better use of his money. So, yeah, he's a jerk. But eventually, he pretty much finds out. He pretty much gets what's coming to him by having his cheese roll down a mountain, so I guess everything about him is now done. So, yeah, then Eggs tells them that the Boxtrolls aren't bad, instead they're just completely normal and harmless, just inventors, but no one believes him because he got rid of that cheese. Makes sense to me, and everyone pretty much just tells him to leave, so he does, and then he pretty much automatically decides, I don't want to be a Boxtroll anymore, even though just a few minutes ago I was saying, like even a minute ago, he just said, I don't want to be like a person because they're all jerks. Which, yeah, he's right, they are, or at least these ones are. And then when he goes back down to the Boxtroll world, he immediately throws his box off, throws his box away, and says, no, I'm a person. Like, dude, what is your deal with your identity crisis here? But, yeah, there's not much time to think about that, as Snatcher has made a giant robot. I know I'm explaining this rather spontaneously, but yeah, he has a giant robot now. That was made by the Boxtrolls that he captured. Oh, and also Egg's dad. Yep. So, pretty much, yeah, they're all there. So, then all the Boxtrolls get captured, and they're all locked in cages. Okay, wait, no, actually, they're not locked in cages, because that would just be smart, so then they could, you know, not get out. No, instead they just stack them up as boxes, because Boxtrolls are pre-programmed not to run away. Like, to not run away from people. Like a possum or something. They'll just stand there. What? Okay, so yeah, Boxtrolls, they never run away from anyone. They'll just fold into their box, and oh yeah, even if that person's hostile, they'll just stay there. Freaking morons! But yeah, it only takes Eggs learning who his father is, which is Herbert, just so you know, who's also insane now. It's actually explained like that in the movie, too. So yeah, after finding that out, he pretty much decides he's gotta give an inspirational speech to the Boxtrolls, so he does, and they all get out of their boxes because this was a major turning point in their lives, I guess. I don't know. And even though he was actually giving a more passionate speech earlier when they were, you know, all getting captured, but, you know, I guess now it holds some weight, or maybe it was just a delayed reaction. Maybe they just now realize he gave us a speech earlier to get out. Let's do that. So yeah, they all get away, and now Snatcher pretty much decides he's going to walk the town in his giant robot because that's a smart idea, and he's pretty much going to just say, hey, I killed all the Boxtrolls, and no one questions the giant robot. Instead, they all just cheer. So he's about ready to get his white hat as slow as humanly possible when Winifred just convinces one of the goons not to kill Eggs, who was the last Boxtroll. So they don't. Good for them. And then pretty much it's a giant boss battle. It's all the Boxtrolls versus and Eggs and Winifred versus Snatcher and his giant robot. And this scene really does feel like a video game. Like, you gotta achieve this objective so you can do this. Like, you gotta fill him up with water so then you can short-circuit the machine. Like, that felt like a video game to me. So, yeah, now they have defeated the giant robot, but Snatcher isn't done because he touched cheese. Oh, yeah, now his infection. And now his weird allergy to cheese just works immediately on contact instead of consumption. Don't know how that happened, but okay. So, yeah, apparently just touching it slightly would cause an allergic reaction. Don't know why, but it does, and he pretty much just goes nuts and grabs Winifred. And then the very, very big turning point that no one would have expected happens. Lord Portly Runt, that's so dumb, just decides to give up his white hat to save his daughter. And then they go into the tasting room where Snatcher still has his daughter. What a lying a-hole. So, yeah, he still has his daughter. What are they gonna do? Oh, he'll just let her go. Okay. So, yeah, they don't decide to immediately get him out of the building or anything. Nope, they just decide to let him stay in there, even though they have no reason to do so. I guess they just wanted to give him that moment of happiness. So then he explodes. What? What? How? How? Oh my god, how? Okay, so he eats a tiny bit of cheese and got cheese touched on him, she's touched him, he explodes? What allergic reaction works that way? Like, my mom is allergic to poison ivy, but if I drop her in it, then, like, if she were to fall into a pool of it, she wouldn't explode. And then, just touch one more leaf and then explode. No, that wouldn't happen. She would just get an allergic reaction. If anything, Snatcher should die naturally from that, not explode. But anyway, this does at least lead to a kind of funny scene where Winifred is discussing how he blew up and body parts went everywhere, and she smiled throughout the whole thing. Because she is a sick individual. And also, Eggs is now acting normal. That's good for him. And Herbert is now sane again because he's above ground and got a haircut, I guess. I don't know. And pretty much everything is now good in the world. And the movie ends. So, what do I think of this one? What do I think of the story? It's really silly. Okay, so I usually really love Leica Animation. To me, their storylines are what can really carry a movie. That along with their characters, but I'll talk about those later. But their storylines are what makes their movies more interesting. They know how to develop characters, they know how to develop storyline and characters really well over the course of a film. But here, it feels like they skipped over most of that. Now, this movie was based off of a book, but I haven't read that one, so I don't know if more of the silly aspects came from that or not, but it seems that more of the more interesting things that they would usually have in their movies seem to be overshadowed by random silly nonsense. Like, Snatcher was dressed in drag as Madame Foo-Foo, another stupid name in this movie, and he does that for some reason. It's never explained. I guess I just wanted to get in good with Lord Portly Ryan's still stupid. But I feel like there were better ways to do that instead of dressing in drag. That is so stupid. Of all the ways you could have done this, that was your idea? Like, what? Freaking moron. And also, that weird cheese obsession thing is greatly focused on in this film, and it's a major plot point for whatever reason. I don't understand it. I don't want to understand it. It is just random. And yeah, that's where most of those strange things come from. The villain and from Lord Portly Ryan as stupid White Hat Club. Outside of that, all the rest of the stuff is alright, and I could have actually seen if maybe those other two aspects were taken out, could have probably been a better movie. Like, the stuff with Eggs and the rest of the Boxtrolls is actually really fun, and I wouldn't mind seeing a whole movie about that instead of just cheese exists, constantly reminding us that cheese still exists, because we really need that reminder. But yeah, it just feels like they could have done so much more with this. Like, Herbert, he's insane, and is also the father of the main character. How much screen time does he get? Like 5 minutes? Genius! Oh, and also he was voiced by Simon Pegg. Wonderful use of him. So, yeah. That could have actually been an interesting story all on its own, but instead it's just shoved to the side for some reason. That and Leica is also a studio that mainly likes to have more serious stuff. In fact, this studio will fight to keep more dark aspects in their film. That's something that's very well regarded with them, but here it seems like they kind of ignored their own motif. Maybe they were just trying to stray away from that for a little bit and try something different. I don't know. In which case, I'll say they did alright. It's still a really funny movie at times. Like, most of the jokes really do work. But, yeah, there are some that are pretty bad. But, yeah, I do really think that the jokes are really funny, especially when they work. There's a great joke in the end credits. I won't spoil it for you if you haven't seen it, but if you haven't, go watch it. This whole entire movie is worth it just for those last few minutes. It is hilarious on its own. I would seriously just ignore this whole entire movie and watch the end credits. Because that scene was amazing. But, yeah, the rest of it doesn't really work that well. It's just pretty bland. And that's pretty disappointing coming from the studio. But, also, the Boxtrolls are pretty creative, so the stuff with them is pretty good. Although, again, not given much focus. It's just pretty shoved to the side, even though they're the title characters, which, yeah, that makes sense. So, yeah. Don't know why that was shoved to the side exactly, but they did, for whatever reason. So, for the story, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. It could have been executed a whole lot better. Although, for what it's worth, some of the stuff is pretty good. It's funny, and there are some creative ideas with it. I just wish that those had been the thing that got more of the focus instead of more of the nonsense. So, let's go into the characters. So for the characters, let's start off with Eggs, who I really think is a very, very bland character. Now, there are moments where he could have a lot more development, like, oh, I don't know, with the fact that he's grown up with Boxtrolls and also is human. That could have been embellished on a lot more than it is, but yeah, it's just shoved to the side like most of the interesting things in this movie. It's just ignored, and I don't know why. That could have been a really interesting turn for the character and could have made him actually pretty more likable, but as he is, I will say that he's at least pretty likable, but he's still missing that sort of element to him that could have made him more engaging. Like, if he had died in this movie, I really wouldn't have cared. It wouldn't have affected me at all. Like, he would be dead. Oh no, bummer. Eggs died. The horror. So, yeah, for Eggs, he's really pretty bland. After him, we have Snatcher. He's still an idiot. Yep. Still a moron. So, Snatcher's big plan is to get a hat. Real villainous there, buddy. So, yeah, why does he want this? I don't know. He has a cheese infection, but he wants to get into a cheese testing room so bad. Why is that? I don't know. Why did he make a giant robot? Well, actually, that one does kind of explain, but where did he get all the parts for that with no one questioning it? I don't know. Why did anyone stop him after he let Winifred go? I don't know. Nothing about him is explained, and I want it explained. Why did he dress in drag as Madame Foo-Foo? Another dumb name. But why did he do that? What was the point of that? Was it to get the town to turn more on Boxtrolls than they already did? I think that's kind of impossible because they already do hate them. But then again, we don't see what would happen without that weirdly catchy song. So, yeah. Who knows? Maybe it worked. I don't know. Don't know why exactly you need to get the town to hate Boxtrolls more than they already do, but whatever. Also, did no one really notice that he was a guy as Madame Foo-Foo? Like, no one noticed that? Not even the girls, not even the women there noticed, like, he's a guy, he's clearly a guy. I was that my very first time seeing that character and no one else noticed? Why? But, yeah, he's pretty much a moron. He's a very big moron of a character. And Madame Fufu sucks. So, there is my expert opinion on that. Then we have Winifred, who I'm very mixed on. On the one hand, her psychotically demented and ideas of things is kind of funny, and yeah, it is pretty fun to watch at times, but then again, on the other hand, she has psychotic endeavors. Seriously, what is with this kid? Why is she imagine Boxtrolls cutting off her toes and making them into a necklace? What? Who imagines that? Why would she imagine that? Like, seriously, what is with this kid? Like, why? Like, that seems more like something that they would do on Daredevil, or Sin City, not, like, what? Why would she imagine that? Like, so yeah, she's pretty mixed for me. So on the one hand, she's pretty funny, but on the other hand, she's psychotic. So, yeah, not really sure which way to go on her. Then we have Fish, who is more like a father figure for Eggs, and I gotta say, I kind of liked. I actually do wish that all the Boxtrolls in this film had gotten more screen time, as all of them are a lot of fun. They are by far the best part of this movie. They have a lot of creative sets, and they are pretty fun to watch. And they're also, on a technical level, they are the hardest puppets to make for this movie that isn't that giant robot. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. But for Fish, I will actually say that he's probably one of the best characters in this movie. He's very likable, he's very simple, and I just find him as a lot of fun. He's a really enjoyable character, and you can really see that he tried his best to raise Eggs. And, yeah, he's pretty likable. So, then we got Chew, and is he related to Gollum? Like, every time I look at him, and when he's, like, crouched over that little clock, I'm just like, he's Gollum. He's freaking Gollum. Like, is this the Boxtroll equivalent of Gollum? It seems like it. So, yeah, he's weird. Not really not much to say about him, actually. He's not in this movie that much. Why did I write his name down? Okay, so then we have Mr. Trout, who is voiced by Nick Frost. Yay! Nick Frost and Simon Pegg are in a movie. Cornello Trilogy fans, you guys will understand that. Unless if you look at the casting of the movies, in which case if you don't, then probably not going to understand it either. But the ones who do will understand it. So, yeah. Mr. Trout is actually pretty funny as well. I really do like how they play on cliches with him and Mr. Pickles. Both of them are really enjoyable. And I really do like seeing how they play the cliche with them. Mr. Trout, while he is very big, and you would just think that he'd be the muscle or something, he actually turns out to be the most well-spoken character. And he's really funny. And both him and Mr. Pickles have great interactions between each other, and again, are some characters that I really do wish there had been more of in this film. Although, with what they do in this movie, it's pretty good, but I still would have enjoyed seeing a lot more of them, as they were a lot of fun. And Mr. Pickles, I already kind of described him. So, then we got the third one, whose name I forgot. I know, it starts with a G, I think. But he is an idiot. He just likes to describe anything around him for some reason. Like, I seriously think that if he was so bored, he would just be like, look at that, it's a wall! So, yeah. He's an idiot, and also very, very homicidal. he might want to talk to Winifred. I feel like she could set him up a little. But yeah, he pretty much just likes to try and kill things for no discernible reason. He just does. Why does he do this? Again, like Snatcher, I have no idea. So yeah. Then we have Lord Porkly Rind. Stupid. But yeah, he's by far one of the worst characters in this movie, if not the worst. He is just so generic. You can tell exactly where his character arc is going from the beginning, and he's also an egotistical jerk. Seriously, I really didn't like this character. His little redemption moment in the end, yeah, didn't get me to like him anymore, so yeah. I didn't like this guy. Then we have Herbert, again, voiced by Simon Pegg. Cool. So, yeah, I also think that he could have been a lot more fun if we hadn't gotten, just like 5 minutes with him. Yeah, again, great use of Simon Pegg. But he actually does have a more interesting side to his character, and I would have liked to see that embellished on a bit more, but instead this movie just decided, well, you don't care about that. What you want to see is cheese, right? Right? Like, why would we want to see that? Who would want to focus on the cheese thing when you have the father of the main character who has gone mad? I would personally prefer to focus on that, please. But anyway, he's just completely avoided for whatever reason. But I will say that he is pretty fun. So, I can give him that. So, for the characters, I'm going to give them a 5 out of 10. More of them hit their mark than on the story, because these guys do really bring in more fun, but yeah, there are a lot of them that are really generic and pretty bland at times that you can just tell where they're going, or they're just completely idiotic. Take your pick. So, now on to the animation. Alright, so now we are on the best part in this movie, the animation. It is beautiful. This animation is so beautiful. Laika always seems to step up their game. Every single film they're in, they step it up. They improve more and more and more. My question is, where are they gonna go after this? They've already done so much. Like, their animation is just amazing. It's outstanding. The way they can mix hand-drawn animation, technical sides of stop motion, and actually have that be incorporated into film quite a lot, and also have computer animation all flow together beautifully, it just astounds me. I really do love this company's animation. And this is by far the best part of this movie. If you are an animation fan, go watch this film just for the animation. If you get into the story and characters, that's fine too. But the animation is what really makes this thing work. And this movie also held the record for some time of the biggest stop-motion character, which was the giant robot. Now that has been replaced, though, by Laika Animation as well, with their giant skeleton in Kubo, but this, so far, is just amazing. I haven't seen Kubo yet, but they are not going to let me down ever, I know that, and at least in the animation department, I will never be disappointed by them, so this is just amazing. This sort of stuff just always gets me looking forward to their films. I always check out the bonus features with these guys, and it's always worth it. Their animation is just so beautiful. It has such a stylized look to it, and I just love it. It's really great. So, animation, 10 out of 10. I love it. So now let's get on to my final thoughts, and this movie is so mixed bag for me. On the one hand, the story I cannot get invested in. I guess people can like it, but I'm not that type of person. To me, it just got way too silly than it needed to be, and didn't focus enough on what usually makes Leica films great. If this had probably been a different studio, I don't know how I would have felt about it, but coming from Leica, this one kind of let me down the story aspect, though it does still have its good moments, and it is still really funny. And the Boxtrolls themselves are amazing. I like seeing their creativity. But then we also have the characters who, some of them are very boring and generic and also idiotic. The other half of them are really funny and I wish that there were more of. So yeah, there's a complete mix on this and I don't know what to think about them. They're all right at the very best, but yeah, there are still some standout ones here. Then we have just the animation, which blew me away. The animation still just blows me away every time. Leica always hits their mark with that, so I can never hate their animation. It is amazing. So for this movie overall, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. I mean, sorry, a 5 out of 10. I was thinking about the animation again. So beautiful. So, yeah, 5 out of 10 on this movie. Could have been a lot better, could have been better executed, but it had some things going for it. So, yeah, it's pretty much it on that, and next week I will be talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Not the movie, the TV show. Hopefully that one won't be long. 7 seasons. So, yeah, bye.